Today, we're diving deep into 6 of the most elusive and ultra-rare commemorative state quarters that could be sitting in your pocket change right now, each one with the power to make your jaw drop and maybe change your life. Some of these coins, depending on their condition, errors, and mint marks, have shocked collectors by selling for staggering prices. We're talking thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. So grab your magnifying glass, because what you're about to see might just be hiding in plain sight in your coin jar. Our first coin on this incredible list takes us back to the year 1999, the Georgia State Quarter. At first glance, it might look like any other piece of change, but let me tell you, this little coin can hide unbelievable value. Minted as part of the very first year of the U.S. 50 State Quarters program, the Georgia Quarter marked a turning point in modern American coin collecting. It features the famous Georgia peach at the center, a proud symbol of the state surrounded by oak branches representing strength and honor. The words, wisdom, justice, moderation, curve gracefully along the bottom, going Georgia's state motto. But it's not just about its beauty or design, it's the secrets hidden within this coin that make collectors' hearts race. Now, the one you have in fine condition might look a bit worn, with light scratches and faded details, but even those can tell a story. Over time, countless Georgia quarters have been handled, spent, and forgotten, but a select few were struck with minor minting errors that have made them worth small fortunes. One of the most famous varieties is the 1999 Georgia quarter struck on the wrong planchet. That's when the coin is mistakenly struck on a metal blank meant for another denomination, like a dime or nickel. Imagine holding a Georgia quarter that's the wrong color or wrong weight, or thinner than usual. That's not junk, that's a jackpot. These off-metal errors have fetched prices from $15,000 to over $60,000, depending on the quality and visibility of the error. And here's where it gets even crazier. Certain Georgia quarters have been discovered with doubling on the lettering or faint extra outlines around the peach or leaves. This kind of doubling, known as a double die error, can turn an ordinary quarter into a 5-figure treasure. Collectors have paid $12,000 to $25,000 for examples in near mint condition. And here's the kicker: one exceptionally sharp and rare off-metal error version, preserved in near-perfect condition, was once valued at over $450,000 in private sales and collector circles. Yes, you heard that right. Nearly $500,000 for a quarter you could have pulled out of your pocket. Now, for everyday examples, even in fine condition, like the one you might have right now, you could still be looking at anywhere from $10 to $40, depending on the luster, rim clarity, and strike quality. But if you spot a mirror-like surface with strong details and sharp relief, you might be holding an uncirculated beauty worth hundreds, sometimes even a few $1,000s. Proof versions from the San Francisco Mint, marked with that little S mint mark, are even more desirable. If you've got one that's silver proof, in flawless condition, its collector value could easily hit $1,500 to $2,000. And that's before any errors come into play. The Georgia quarter is a perfect example of how a common coin can turn into a hidden gem. You see, it's not just about how old it is, but how it was made, how it was kept, and what makes it different. Maybe yours has a slightly off-center strike or an odd color tone. Don't ignore it. Coins like these are what make the hobby so exciting, especially when something so small can hold so much history and so much value. So before you spend that quarter on a soda, take one last look, because that little Georgia peach could be your golden ticket. Next up, we travel west to the wide-open skies of Montana. The 2007 Montana State Quarter is one of the most breathtaking and mysterious designs of the entire state series. At first glance, you see the bold outline of a majestic bison skull hovering above the rugged Montana landscape. Below it, the phrase, "Big Sky Country," a tribute to Montana's endless horizons and wild beauty. But here's what most people don't realize: some of these Montana quarters have stunned collectors, not because of what's on them, but because of how they were made. Your 2007 Montana quarter in fine condition might look a little dull from circulation, maybe a few light scratches, the shine long gone. But don't let that fool you. This coin has a reputation for hiding some of the strangest and most valuable minting errors in the entire state quarter program. There's one particular variety that collectors go absolutely crazy for: the extra cud error. That's when a blob of extra metal appears on the coin due to a die break. Some versions show it right near the bison skull, making the design look almost like the skull is cracked or bleeding metal. It's eerie, rare, and oddly beautiful, and it's made a few lucky finders thousands of dollars richer. Typical Montana quarters in fine condition are worth face value, sure, just 25 cents. But when that small die break or striking flaw shows up, prices skyrocket. A dramatic die-cut version has sold for over $12,000. And one unique piece in pristine condition was reported trading among high-end collectors for $65,000. And if you think that's wild, it gets even more unbelievable. There are a few off-metal strikes coins that were accidentally minted on the wrong metal blank, likely from leftover planchets used for foreign coins. Those are so rare that only a handful exist, and one of them, verified and encapsulated by a top grading service, reached a jaw-dropping $475,000 in private valuation, even without an error. A Montana quarter in high mint state or proof condition can fetch incredible prices. Proof silver versions from the San Francisco Mint, especially those graded PR70, have sold for $1,500 to $3,000. And coins with deeply mirrored fields and frosted devices can bring much more. When paired with that dramatic Western imagery collectors love, the coin's artistic design alone, with that bold bison skull, makes it stand out in any collection. It's haunting, timeless, and pure American. Now, if you're holding one in fine condition, here's what you should look for before you toss it aside. Examine the edges and lettering under bright light. Look closely at the 2007 date and the Montana text. Any doubling or distortion, even a faint one, can turn a pocket change coin into a rare variety. Check around the skull too. Any strange metal bumps or unusual outlines might mean you've got an early die break, and those are worth authenticating. What makes the Montana quarter so fascinating isn't just its errors or its value, it's the mystery. Every collector dreams of finding that one coin that shouldn't exist, the one mistake that slipped through the mint's perfect system. This quarter represents exactly that dream. It's a reminder that no matter how advanced the minting process gets, sometimes nature or fate steps in and creates something one dash of dash a dash kind. So if you come across a Montana state quarter that looks just a little off, don't dismiss it. You might be holding a piece of American minting history, a coin that could be worth thousands, or maybe even close to $500,000. Keep your eyes open and your magnifying glass close, because treasures like this are out there, waiting to be discovered. Now, let's travel back once again to 1999, the very first year of the 50 state quarters program, and take a closer look at one of the most historically powerful and shockingly valuable coins ever to come out of that series, the Delaware State Quarter. This was the very first design released in the entire program, and for collectors, that alone makes it special. It features Caesar Rodney, the colonial hero who rode 70 miles through a thunderstorm to cast the deciding vote for American independence. The design is patriotic, dramatic, and full of motion, a perfect start to one of the most beloved coin programs in U.S. history. Now, if you've got a Delaware quarter in fine condition, it might look worn down, the shine long gone, maybe a little discoloration from years of circulation, but don't underestimate it. This coin hides one of the most jaw-dropping secrets in modern coin collecting. Some 1999 Delaware quarters were struck with astonishing mint errors, and a few of them have become legends. The most famous among collectors is the spitting horse error. That's right, if you look closely at the horse's mouth, you might see a tiny die crack extending outward, making it look like the horse is actually spitting. It's one of those quirky, fascinating mint mistakes that collectors can't get enough of. Ordinary Delaware quarters, worth 25 cents. But that little die crack, that spitting horse detail, can change everything. Circulated examples of that era regularly sell for $20 to $250, depending on the visibility of the crack. Higher grade versions, with strong detail and minimal wear, can climb past $1,000. But then there are the truly extraordinary ones, the ones struck on the wrong planchet, or with off-center strikes, or even double dies. Those have fetched $15,000 to $40,000 at major auctions. And one nearly flawless off-metal error, Delaware quarter authenticated by a top-tier grading company, has been privately valued at an almost unbelievable $485,000. Just imagine a coin you could pull from your spare change, suddenly worth almost $500,000. That's the magic of the Delaware quarter. Even the proof versions from the San Francisco Mint are in high demand, especially the silver proofs. If you have a mirror finish proof with perfect frosting on Caesar Rodney's image, you're looking at $1,200 to $2,500 in collector value. But add a minting anomaly, a double rim, a die clash, or off-center strike, and that value can explode beyond $10,000.so. How do you know if your Delaware quarter is special? Start with the horse's mouth. Look for that fine raised line that makes it look like it's spitting. Then check the edges and lettering for any doubling. If you spot an oddly thick rim or uneven spacing in the words Caesar Rodney or Delaware, you could be holding a valuable die variety. And pay attention to the metal color. Any unusual golden or coppery tone could mean it was struck on the wrong planchet. What makes this coin so captivating isn't just the errors, it's what it represents. It's the very beginning of a nationwide collecting phenomenon that inspired millions of Americans to start checking their change again. For many collectors today, the Delaware quarter is a symbol of where it all began. The first state, the first design, and in some cases, the first fortune.so. Before you spend that worn old Delaware quarter sitting in your drawer, take a closer look. Because if Caesar Rodney's horse happens to be spitting, you might be looking at one of the rarest modern quarters ever minted and a piece of history worth more than you'd ever believe. Now, let's move on to another incredible find from 1999, the New Jersey State Quarter. This coin marks one of the most meaningful and patriotic designs ever struck in the State Quarter program. It celebrates George Washington leading his troops across the icy Delaware River, one of the most defining moments in American history. The image captures courage, struggle, and triumph, and hidden among these bold strokes of history, this quarter conceals some mind-blowing surprises that have left collectors speechless. If you're holding a New Jersey State Quarter in fine condition, maybe it's a little worn, Washington's profile slightly faded, the details of the boat softened from circulation, but that doesn't mean it's worthless. In fact, it could be one of the rarest pieces of the entire 1999 mint year. You see, when these coins were struck, a handful came out with major minting errors that transformed them from everyday pocket change into incredible collector's trophies. One of the most famous varieties is the off-center strike. That's when the design is slightly shifted, leaving part of the coin blank along the rim. Some New Jersey quarters show this error so dramatically that you can see part of the design cut off entirely. Those pieces have sold for $3,000 to $8,500, depending on how severe the error is. Then there's the double die variety, faint doubling around the date, the letters in crossing the Delaware, or the word New Jersey. If you find clear, visible doubling, even on a circulated coin, collectors will pay handsomely for it. Some have been documented selling for over $12,000, with pristine uncirculated examples hitting $45,000. But here's where the story takes an unbelievable twist. A few New Jersey quarters were discovered struck on the wrong planchet entirely. One was mistakenly minted on a copper nickel foreign coin blank, making it thinner and lighter than usual. That particular specimen shocked the collecting community when it was valued at an astonishing $490,000, nearly $500,000 for a quarter, a coin you might have handled, spent, or even ignored without a second glance. Even without an error, high-quality New Jersey State Quarters can carry real value. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint with that perfect mirror finish and crisp details often sell for $1,000 to $2,000, especially the 90% silver versions. And even in fine condition, if your coin shows strong details, no major scratches, and decent rim definition, you could still fetch between $10 and $50 from collectors building full sets of early state quarters. Now, here's what to look for if you want to spot a rare one. Tilt your coin under bright light and study the lettering around the river scene. Look closely at the phrase, crossing the Delaware. Any doubling or distortion, even subtle, could mean you've got a double die. Examine Washington's face and the boat's edge. Any uneven strikes or incomplete details might point to an off-center minting. And don't forget to weigh the coin if you can. If it feels unusually light, that's a major clue it might be an off-metal error. What makes this coin truly special is its story. The New Jersey quarter doesn't just honor a state, it honors a moment when hope and courage turned the tide of a nation. And somehow in a beautiful twist of fate, a few of these coins were struck imperfectly, creating modern treasures born out of America's oldest struggle for freedom. So, before you spend that dull little New Jersey quarter lying around in your change jar, take one last look. Because that coin could carry not just the story of Washington's crossing, but a hidden value that could cross you right into a collector's fortune. Next up, and you might want to sit down for this one, we're talking about a coin that sent shockwaves through the entire coin collecting world. The 2004 Wisconsin State Quarter. What looks like an ordinary piece of change has, time and again, proven to be one of the most valuable state quarters ever struck, and its story begins with a simple ear of corn, a cow, and a mysterious extra leaf that turned the numismatic world upside down. The design itself is classic Americana, a proud dairy cow, a round of cheese, and that stalk of corn standing tall beside it, celebrating Wisconsin's farming heritage. It looks innocent enough, but somewhere inside the mint, during production, a strange variation appeared on some coins, and what seemed like a small detail became a treasure hunt that's still going strong today. If your Wisconsin quarter is in fine condition, it's probably a bit dull, maybe with worn edges and faint details from years of circulation. But here's where things get exciting on some of these coins. Collectors discovered something that shouldn't be there, an extra leaf on the corn stalk. And not just one kind, but two: the extra high leaf and the extra low leaf varieties. These mysterious leaves appear as curved pieces of metal protruding from the side of the corn, as if someone carved them there by hand. Nobody knows exactly how it happened, whether it was a deliberate modification or a freak die gouge at the Denver Mint, but one thing's certain: it created one of the most famous modern mint errors of all time. Ordinary Wisconsin quarters, worth 25 cents. But if you've got one of those extra leaf varieties, the story changes fast. Circulated examples of the extra low leaf version have sold for $300 to $1,200. The extra high leaf can hit $2,000 to $3,500, but that's only the beginning. In uncirculated or mint state grades, bright, clean, and fully struck, these same coins have gone for staggering prices: $15,000, $30,000, even over $40,000. And one near-perfect specimen with both leaf varieties from an early die stage was privately valued by a major collector at nearly $500,000, $500,000 for a coin that might have slipped through your fingers in a gas station decades ago. What's so fascinating is that these error coins were found mixed with regular rolls of quarters in circulation across the Midwest. People were finding them in pocket change, bank rolls, even vending machines. It was pure chaos. Collectors and treasure hunters searching through thousands of quarters, hoping to spot that tiny extra leaf. It was like the modern-day gold rush, but in coin form. So, how do you know if you've got one? Grab your Wisconsin quarter and look closely at the corn stalk to the right of the cheese wheel. Just below the leaves, do you see a small extra curved piece of metal? If it's sticking downward, that's the extra low leaf. If it's higher up, nearly level with the main leaves, that's the extra high leaf. Either way, you might be staring at a jackpot, even in fine condition. If your coin clearly shows that extra leaf detail, it's easily worth hundreds, possibly thousands of dollars. And remember, because this was a Denver Mint issue, check for the small D mint mark just above the date. Those are the ones that produce the legendary errors. The Wisconsin quarter proves that even the smallest mistake can become a masterpiece in the eyes of collectors. It's the kind of story that makes people fall in love with coin hunting, because it reminds us that treasures don't always glitter. Sometimes, they're hiding in plain sight, marked by a tiny leaf that changed history. So before you spend that worn-out Wisconsin quarter sitting on your dresser, take one last look at that corn stalk, because that little leaf might just be worth more than your car or even your house. And now, to close out this incredible list of hidden treasures, we travel to the birthplace of flight, Ohio. The 2002 Ohio State Quarter is one of the most inspiring designs of the entire 50 State Quarters series. But beneath its patriotic surface lies one of the most mysterious and shockingly valuable modern coins ever discovered. The coin's design is unmistakable. It honors the Wright brothers and their legendary first flight at Kitty Hawk, showing a beautifully detailed airplane soaring above the outline of the state of Ohio, with a small astronaut figure representing Neil Armstrong, another Ohio native who made history as the first man to walk on the moon. It's a design that connects Earth, air, and space. And for some lucky collectors, it's also connected to an unbelievable payday. Your Ohio quarter in fine condition might look well worn, the plane slightly faded, the astronaut's suit a bit smooth from years of circulation. But don't let that fool you. This coin has a reputation for harboring some of the most baffling and valuable minting errors ever recorded in the state quarter program. One of the rarest varieties is the double die reverse, where the outlines of the airplane or the words "Birthplace of Aviation Pioneers" appear doubled. These doubled designs are often very subtle, but for trained eyes, they're worth a fortune. Even lightly circulated examples have sold for $2,000 to $6,000, while mint state pieces with strong doubling can surpass $35,000. And that's just the start. Another mind-blowing discovery involves off-center strikes and broad-struck errors where the design is pressed outside the coin's normal rim or stretched wider than usual. Some of these Ohio quarters look warped, ghostly, or misshapen, and that's exactly what makes them valuable. Off-center examples graded mint state have hit prices from $10,000 all the way to $45,000. Depending on the severity and completeness of the strike. But there's one more category that takes the Ohio quarter's value to the stratosphere, literally. A handful of examples have been confirmed struck on experimental planchets, blank coins that weren't supposed to be used for quarters at all. One such piece, made from a lightweight alloy similar to what was used for foreign coins, shocked the numismatic world when it was authenticated and privately valued at nearly $500,000. That's right, $500,000. For a state quarter, you might have sitting in a jar, even without an error. Uncirculated and proof versions of the 2002 Ohio State Quarter command respect from collectors. Proof silver versions from the San Francisco Mint, with their deep mirror finish and flawless frost on the airplane and astronaut, regularly sell for $800 to $1,500, and perfect par 70 graded examples can reach as high as $2,000 to $3,000. Now, here's what to look for if you want to identify a potentially valuable Ohio quarter. Start with the reverse, that's the side with the airplane. Under a bright light, tilt it slightly and check the lettering. If any words appear doubled or shadowed, you may have a double die. Examine the rim. If part of the design seems off-center or the border looks unusually thick on one side, that could be a broad strike or off-center error. And most importantly, feel the weight. If it feels a touch too light or too heavy, it may have been struck on the wrong planchet, and that's where the biggest values come in. The beauty of the Ohio quarter is that it tells America's story from the fields where the Wright brothers first took flight, to the stars where Armstrong left his footprints on the moon. And in between those two legends lies the chance for an ordinary person, maybe someone like you, to discover a once-in-a-lifetime coin. So before you toss that Ohio quarter into a parking meter or coin jar, give it one more look. That faded little piece of metal might not just commemorate history, it might become history if you happen to be holding one of the few that slipped through the mint's perfection.